Morning. Thank you very much, Patricia.
With a sum of land or a scale of land of 3 million hectares in KZN, Ngonyama Trust is custodian of this, but it was taken to court by groups and some of the likes being Rural Women's Movement and several elderly women who live on the trust land, who were saying this is unlawful. You can't be taking 800 rands from us every year for land that we and our ancestors have been living on and you are just custodians for.
Well, that's exactly correct. That's the effect of the court judgment that was handed down on Friday, to say that the residents on the land are the true and beneficial owners of that land, and therefore to require them to pay rent on land that they already own is unlawful. So the Ngonyama Trust attempt to force people into signing leasehold agreements to replace their permissions to occupy rights was unlawful, that the trust did not have the authority to dilute the rights of residents, and it was therefore declared unlawful and set aside, and the court ordered that the Ngonyama Trust must repay to residents any monies that they have collected in terms of these lease arrangements.
Is it possible that the Ngonyama Trust is going to repay this? Because they're also marred with quite a lot of things happening internally. I mean, some of the workers are said to be going to protest to work for the Ngonyama Trust, and also their auditing books have come up unqualified.
Well, indeed, and the Ngonyama Trust has failed over several years to properly account for all of the money that it has received as its income. In recent years, this has been, ranging between 18 million and 110 million rand per annum. And they've not been able to report satisfactorily on that, either to the Auditor General or to Parliament. But there is now a court order that says that they have to repay this money. They will then have to produce all of the leases that they have forced people to sign, and they should have records of all the income that has been received, and must produce these. And if they're unable to do so, then those members of the Ngonyama Trust board, who have a fiduciary responsibility, not just to the board, but to the beneficiaries, who are the people that reside on the land, they must be held accountable for their actions.
Now, Togo Didiza, the Minister of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, has also been brought in here, and she's also been given some instructions by the court. Please tell us what her role is going to be and her responsibility.
Well, in terms of the Constitution, people living on communal land have a right to have their rights formalized from the rights that informal rights that they hold in terms of customary law, and this is something that the state has failed to do. It has failed to provide a mechanism for people who live on communal land to have proper legal title to that land, and that's been a failure of government over many years. And the court has now ordered the minister to put in place a mechanism that recognizes these rights, and the minister is required to report to the court every 3 months on progress in implementing this program.
Well, I do hope that the people who are resident on this Ngonyama Trust custodian land will get their monies back, because 800 rand a year for an elderly person in a poorer community is a lot of money, and I do hope it's going to be done correctly.
Well, we certainly hope so, and 800 rand is the minimum amount that has been paid. Some people have been paying far in excess of that, depending on where they live and the size of the plot of land that they have. So, it's desperately urgent that these people get reimbursed, because, as you point out, these people tend to be vulnerable, poor people living in rural areas, many of whom are elderly and who are women. And, the Ngonyama Trust has discriminated against women in particular by refusing that women can sign lease arrangements. They were forced to get male relatives to sign those lease agreements on their behalf. So, treating women in that way is a clear violation of the Constitution, and the rights of the rural residents has been vindicated by this judgment, and they have now been accorded the full protection of the Constitution of South Africa.
Thank you very much, Lawson. Have a good morning.
Thank you.
Let's go straight to the news with Ngonyama Trust.